how can a friendship disappear when nobody actually did anything wrong?
Yeah, that is like the defining social question of our time right now. We are looking at what researchers are calling the friendship recession.
Right. And when I look at the data, I honestly see a catastrophic collapse of deep ties. I mean, we're suffering from passive neglect. We've basically forgotten that friendship is a deliberate moral practice.
Well, I look at the exact same data and I see something completely different. I don't see a collapse at all. I see resilience. Human connection is just, evolving to fit a world that has radically changed.
But look at how it's changing, right? If you go back to Cicero's classic text on friendship, he argued that true connection requires active labor. It requires loyalty, absolute honesty.
Sure.
It takes immense effort. But today, if you look at how Americans actually spend their time, our hours spent alone have shot up by 24 hours a month since 2003.
Wow, that much?
Yeah, 24 hours, while in-person time with friends has just plummeted. We are literally starving our relationships of shared time. And, the Surgeon General warns that lacking this connection is as physically dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Okay, the 15 cigarette statistic is terrifying. I will give you that. But holding modern working adults to Cicero's standard is, frankly, just outdated elitism.
Elitism?
Yeah, Cicero had very high ideals, sure. But he wasn't commuting 45 minutes to a 9-to-5 job. He was a Roman patrician with endless leisure time.
Well, okay, but
For us, friendship has to adapt to time scarcity. Instead of relying on these lifelong neighborhood bonds, adults today are compartmentalizing. We have our gym friends, we have work friends. It is a functional adaptation, not a failure of effort.
I hear you on the time constraints, but let's look at the result of that compartmentalization. Over half of our close friendships are now formed at work.
Which makes sense, right? We spend all our time there.
Sure, but if we apply Cicero's logic, relationships built on professional utility, where you're bonded just because you need to survive the same workplace, well, they're inherently fragile. The moment someone gets a new job, the bond shatters. We're building our social safety nets out of tissue paper just because it's convenient.
But is it just convenience, though? Or is the workplace providing exactly what adults desperately need, which is shared action and physical proximity?
I guess it provides proximity.
Exactly. Cicero's strict requirement for a completely non-transactional relationship is a luxury. Working together toward a shared goal builds trust. It builds collective efficacy. It isn't a corruption of friendship. It is simply the modern infrastructure for it.
But even if workplace proximity helps, what happens when we go home? We're replacing physical proximity with digital proximity, which brings up a whole new set of issues.
How so?
We substitute the active labor of maintaining a friendship with effortless digital contact. It is an illusion of intimacy. It's like texting a thirsty plant a picture of a glass of water and expecting it to grow. Real closeness requires undivided in-person attention, not just a passive notification on a screen.
Okay, that is a great image, and I agree. A picture of water won't save a plant. But you are leaning into this techno-skepticism that ignores a massive portion of the population.
What do you mean?
Well, for a lot of people, technology is the actual water. Digital tools are an absolute lifeline for marginalized groups or people constrained by geography and physical limitations.
Right, that makes sense.
For them, a digital ping isn't some hollow illusion. It is the very bridge that keeps them connected to humanity when physical proximity just isn't an option.
That is a fair point regarding accessibility. I'll concede that. But broadly speaking, we have to be wary of letting digital convenience replace active moral effort. We cannot allow passive neglect to erode the deep, demanding ties that sustain our well-being.
And I still maintain that modern bonds are far more adaptable than classical models give them credit for. We are finding practical ways to connect in an incredibly demanding world. There's no objective right or wrong here, just different realities.
Even with our disagreement on the state of modern connection, I think both the historical texts and the modern data point us toward one profound shared insight.
Which is?
Friendship may not be something we simply have, it is something we continuously do.
Exactly. I completely agree with that. The reality of human connection is complex, and whether you lean towards Cicero's ideals or modern practicality, it requires action.
Right. And we will leave it to our listeners to form their own conclusions. But I encourage you to think of one friend you still care deeply about, but rarely contact. Reach out.
Do it today.
If this episode made you think differently, feel deeply, or take action, then the knowledge has reloaded.